So, you are ready to hit the new day and finally get that first chapter done, poem, or whatever it is you need to develop. You have a coffee, tea, or whatever drink keeps you going, and the editor of choice is open. But you just stare at the screen, and it stares back, blank and unyielding. The void stares at the void, and you groan, "I have writer's block." But don't panic. We all get it, and there are ways to shift it aside. This is my method, and it may not work for everyone, and some will not agree. That is fine, we're all different. Likewise, this method is more for the creative writer, but I think that goes without saying. Also, I must place a disclaimer here that sorry, if you're looking for a quick fix, as many out there will say there is, well, there are none really, and this is not one. What I will talk about is building a foundation so the blocks do not come as often, and when they do, they are a thin pile of sticks compared to a brick wall. I think it is best to address the reasons blocks happen and not just throw a quick fix at it. Often, you will be told just to write garbage, anything to break through, and while it works, it never addresses the reason you have the block to begin with. In truth, you should do this anyway as your warm-up work, and the write anything method is simply an exercise, well, in my opinion. When applied to a block, it is a brute force method, and yes, it works, but the block comes back. What we all need as writers is a way to reduce it coming back. The just right method is a good way to start, but I find it only helps for a little while, and if you have a project you must finish, it is not always that helpful to just write anything. So, this is my method, and it takes planning, but I get much less blocked than I once did. The key here is planning. Know the topic, scene you wish to write as an outline. Now, I am a pantser at heart, yet I still need to plan, and plan I do. It is just how I go about doing things will be a little different from a hardcore planner. Structure, my friends, is the point here. If you have a prompt, well, describe it. And there is the start of just writing. It is not just garbage or anything. It is useful material then. Using prompts is a video I will cover in the future, but it leads us to framework, not perfection, foundation, and not random bricks. None of this is about getting the perfect sentence or dialogue down. That comes later. In fact, this is not even about writing anything other than creating a sense of place to begin with. So know your world. I understand the need to just get writing and put the story on paper, but without a sound foundation to build a framework on, you will just end up with a very convoluted story with little substance. Yes, even as a pantser, I plan and build the world before I write. Well, before I write much of the story. It is a chicken or the egg sort of thing, and to be honest, it is often a small test scene or a snatch of dialogue I like that starts the process. But characters need a world to exist in, and from that world they should be able to tell you their story, and they will tell you their story, leading you along paths you never thought of. How to build your world is up to you, and I'll address methods in coming videos, but with a world for your characters to exist in, you should find the flow comes, if not easily, much more often. So know your characters. Sounds like an obvious sort of thing to say, I know. But to clear a path and reduce the block, you need to have a good grasp of who your characters are, their hopes, their dreams, their flaws, etc. Spend time building their personalities and writing test shots of how they interact with other characters in your story. By doing this, it will help the flow. A solid backstory is key here. Even if you only use a tiny bit of it in the principal work, it helps. For the Neververse, I think I have nearly twice as much information on the world and the characters as you see in the finished work as an example. Anyway, I'll discuss building believable characters in upcoming videos. So know your motivation. The why, the when, and the how. As a writer, you must understand where the story is going and why. If you do not do this, then it all stalls and you flounder around, not really addressing the reason the story exists in the first place. Giving you, and you guessed it, writer's block. This area alone is a full video in its own right, so I'll not go into depth here and save that for another video. Yet, there is a theme resolving here, and I'm sure you have spotted it. Planning. Be consistent. It is all too easy to get distracted, so discipline is very important, and you build this through a consistent routine. Have a place you work, and a set time that you do your work. I know this is nothing new for many, but it is easy to miss. A comfortable place to work free of distractions is critical, in my opinion, as is a set time to do the work. Work routine I will cover like other topics in coming videos that will discuss how to plan the day and how to be realistic about what you will actually achieve each day. Which leads me to another point. You may not have writer's block at all, and you are just tired. In the rush to get work done and under the pressures of everyday life, it is all too easy to burn out. Look after yourself. Get out in the air and refresh your mind. If you are run down, it is no wonder you cannot write. So take an artist date. What is that, you say? Well, it is time out that fills the well and feeds the creative mind. I don't mean watching movies or binge watching TV, or even playing a game. No, none of that. In fact, please avoid this. Go to a gallery, go to the park with a notebook. Write what you smell, see and hear. Go to the beach and listen to music. It could be a cafe to observe people's expressions. All of these things can reset the mind and fill the creative battery, and some still have you working on development. Be realistic. Set goals you will meet. It can be overwhelming when you look at a project, so break it down and let it take its time. Old or new to writing, this is a very important point. You will not complete that novel in a week, a month, or even a year. It takes time, so stop being hard on yourself. It takes me between 3 and 5 years to complete a work, and I write 2,000 to 5,000 words a day. If all you can manage is 500 words, well done. And if all you can do is 2,000 words a week, then likewise, very well done. It is not volume, it is consistency. So while just writing can and often will break the block, reducing it happening is the key. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and I will cover much more in depth over the coming series. Consistent work habits and planning focus will have you writing every day, and while just writing garbage, as I have heard all too often said, is a method, it is like throwing medication at an issue, but never looking at the reason the block is there in the first place. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.